Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz on June 30, 2015 at 1:20 a.m. in Birmingham. Topic, Part 2, Jade Helm, if that's who you're worried about. Anyway, I want to continue, and I want you to really hear this. And you know what? I have 6 pages right here that I don't need, because this is such a vivid memory of mine from years back. I'll never forget it. And as most of you know, I'm an ex-cop, and one of my buddies one of my partners told me this story. He's been a missionary. They called him the hippie Christian for many, many years, and he spent many a time in between Africa and South America and even the Caribbean islands. And I won't tell you his name, but he's back. He's been off and on for over 40 years doing this. But he told me a story one day I'll never forget. In Africa, there was a village, and I don't know that name, but there were quite a number of people in the village. There were several thousand, and I don't know, 10,000, 12 or 6 or 28. I don't know, but there were several thousand people in the village. And when missionaries came in, the leaders of these villages, and this is not selective, this is almost everywhere, it scared them. They thought these missionaries were coming in to take over their people, and they fought them more out of fear than they did anything else. And if you were to approach them with the name Jesus Christ, they didn't know Jesus. They never heard that name before. All they knew is you're rounding up the town and bringing the town into a frenzy every few nights. Well, let me tell you what happened. There was a missionary and his wife in a hut. This hut was their home for several years. There was a row of them. I don't know how many. I believe there was less than 20, because each town didn't get very many missionaries. Missionaries were very plentiful back then, in the 60s, by the way. But this leader wasn't called a mayor of the community or the village. The leader, he was afraid, so he sent his men out to start killing the missionaries. He didn't know their purpose for being there. He just didn't like it. And so they did. And the very last hut started, this is from one man, was hearing the screams, but yet when they would get out and have a large cookout, the natives, the Africans, they screamed, whatever, they made noise. But this night the screams were different. So he went to his door and looked up the dirt path, and less than a quarter mile, half that away, and noticed some pretty big fires going on. So he questioned as to why, and somebody came running down to him and said, get out, get your wife, y'all leave. They're burning all of you out. They're killing you, everyone that's in the huts. And he asked why. He said, they're killing you because they don't know what you're trying to do, and they're afraid of you. Well, the man and his wife were doing just that. They were loading up. Well, when they got ready to leave, it was too late. They were forced back inside by natives with torches. They didn't have guns, but they had torches and their spears, and they were forced back inside. So they're coming down the line. They're burning these huts. They're burning and killing everybody inside, and which included children of many other families. All they heard all night was screams. And so when the man told him first to get out, and then they couldn't go, they went inside, got on their knees, and they started praying. And they did not lift their heads. They prayed the rest of that night into the morning before they realized the screaming had stopped. Come to find out, it had stopped just a little while after they started praying. Year and a half later, there's a church in this town. There are many people who are members of this church. And there's one member who is the mayor, new title, mayor of this town. He went to the preacher and asked the preacher, talked to the preacher and asked him questions. And then the preacher happened to say, "Were you here a year and a half ago?" He said, "Yes, I was the ruler. I was the king of his village." And the preacher said, "Were you burning out and killing all the missionaries?" And the guy lowered his head. He said, "Yes, that was me." And he said, I regret it deeply. I didn't know who God was. I didn't know who Jesus was. And so the missionary, the preacher said, "Well, I was in the last hut." And the mayor said, wept and said, I'm very, very sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm very, very sorry. And the missionary said, "But can I ask you a question?" And he said, "Sure." He said, "Why did you not burn us? Why did y'all stop just a few huts shy of us?" He said, "Oh, we couldn't. They wouldn't let us." He said, "Who wouldn't let you?" He said, "All those giants standing outside your hut." He said, "Giants?" He said, "Oh, yes, there were giants." He said, "They were bigger than the huts, and they wore silver, and all of them wore silver, and all of them had their swords out, and all of them stood guard, and they told us if we were going to burn any more that they would have to destroy us. So we stopped." That is a true story. When this preacher, this missionary started praying, God put into the eyes of the people that were burning the huts, killing the missionaries, God showed them, "Well, look now, I'm going to show you. This man is praying, this missionary is praying, and he wants you to stop. And so I'm going to honor his request." So God put those giants out there, all of them wearing silver, and all of them clanked when they walked, and all of them were bigger than the huts. He said they walked around those huts for 3 days and kept telling everybody, he said, "Don't you hurt these people." And then the people started coming to Christ. But it was the ones that were burning them out were the ones that were seeing the giants. The rest of the people didn't see them. Look, guys, this is a true story. And there's many true stories just like that. Now, you're not going to hear this story in what I was telling you, but I'm going to tell you what started out this story. If you go to Obama's gun grab begins, Infowars, Nightly News, 6/19/2015 with Alex Jones, he'll tell you about what Obama's after today. And then, I'm running out of time. I'm sorry here. No, I got a few seconds. And then, finally, Jessy Ventura. And you all have heard this man. He has finally opened his eyes to what everybody is telling him is true. So he's on board with Alex Jones. Jody Wolf Expoz.